you ever been off of mainland America? How about to an island? Well, Puerto Rico is a neat little island in the Caribbean. People vacation in Puerto Rico for a long time because you don't need a passport to visit there if you're a U.S. citizen. My family and I, we vacationed there 3 years ago this Christmas, and it was a really fun experience. Puerto Rico is full of history, rich in culture, and has exciting tourist attractions. So let's explore some of the history, some of the culture of the people, and the attractions there. The history mainly started in 1493 when Christopher Columbus discovered the island and claimed it for Spain. Let's see what happened after that. The history is very fascinating. Puerto Rico Does It Better, which is an info site set up by the Puerto Rico government and tourism company, says that Columbus claimed Puerto Rico for Spain and named it San Juan Bautista, but the Spanish wouldn't settle the island until 1508 when Juan Ponce de Leon landed on its shores. And after Juan Ponce de Leon landed there, he renamed it Puerto Rico, which means rich port in Spanish, and people prospered. They grew tobacco, coffee, sugar, and they were very, very successful. But in the 1800s, rebellion grew because there was unrest with the Spanish rule. But they didn't really get far until the Spanish-American War in 1898, where Puerto Rico was brought under U.S. control. So in 1952, they ratified their own constitution and became a Commonwealth. But their political status has been put up to vote, and they're still a Commonwealth, but the debate still continues today. So now that we looked at the history, let's talk about the people and culture. The culture is really diverse and eccentric. Puerto Rico Does It Better also states that Puerto Rico's culture is a colorful, joyous fusion of Taino, African, and Spanish influences. The Taino were the Native Americans there when Christopher Columbus discovered the island, and they mixed in with the Spanish and the African slaves they brought to work the plantations. So that's where all the influences come from. And John Marino, the author of Frommer's Puerto Rico 9th edition, which is a complete book on Puerto Rico, states that the 4 million people who live here have perfected the art of having fun on their dazzling island, and visitors are free to join right in, which is really true. They have many celebrations down there to celebrate all of their influences, and if you're vacationing there when the celebrations are going on, they really encourage you to join in and participate in them. The Christianity is the main religion there because the Spanish were they were more Catholic, so that's how all the influences for Christianity came there. And the official languages are Spanish and English, but if you go into the main kind of slums, like the inner parts of Puerto Rico, they mostly just speak Spanish, so you might want to have a little bit of a background if you go into the inner parts of Puerto Rico. So finally, let's move to a couple tourist attractions. There are very many places to see there, so many, but I'm only going to tell you about 3 of them, 3 of which I saw when we were down there. And the first one is Playa Sucia, which means dirty beach. It's really actually the opposite of that. It's a very secluded beach, but you go down you drive down this little trail, and then you get to another trail and you have to walk down a little bit towards the beach. But once you get there, you're just amazed. It's white sand, and it's green, blue water, and it's so beautiful. So that's one of the beaches I really suggest to go to. Puerto Rico Does It Better states that the next one I'm going to talk to you about is El Unque National Forest, and Puerto Rico Does It Better states that it's the only subtropical rainforest in the U.S. National Forest Service, which is really a really amazing thing because, when you think of U.S. national forests, you think of just woods and Montana and Wyoming and stuff like that, but this one's subtropical. So the reserve that it's on was actually set aside by President Theodore Roosevelt in 1903, and it became a national forest because it has a lot of the indigenous species and many animals and flowers, and there's waterfalls there, and it's really a good place to visit. And the last one I want to talk to you about is Ponce. Ponce is actually not the capital of Puerto Rico, but it's the 2nd largest city there, and it was founded in 1692. It has one of the New World's oldest churches there, and it's a really incredible city to go and see because it has just amazing architecture and there's so much history there. There are museums for art, for music, for the history, for religion, and it's a really incredible place to see because all the architecture, it's wide balconies and very colorful buildings, and then there's a brick road down the middle of downtown Ponce, and it's really a good place to see. So all in all, Puerto Rico is full of history, rich in culture, and has exciting tourist attractions. From the history to the people to the places to see, Puerto Rico is an interesting, exciting Caribbean island. If you guys ever plan on visiting an island, I would really suggest Puerto Rico, because you'll experience a culture you're probably not used to and have a really fun time experiencing it. Thank you.